Padmaja, just look at those visuals, the crowd swelling at the funeral ground. Of course, it bears witness to the fact that how popular Ajit Pawar was with the people of Baramati, the love they had for him, and how they could relate to the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra.
Absolutely. This is going to be a morning that is going to be extremely important, not just for the politics of the country and of Maharashtra, but in particular the people of Baramati. At Vidya Pratishthan, one of the showpieces, the things that had been done by the Pawar family, in particular Ajit Pawar, for this pocket borough of the Pawar family. In Baramati, the kind of development that had been done, the kind of institutes that had been made were always held up as an example of just how much progress this area has made. It was shown off proudly by the Pawar family as proof that this is really an area that they have taken care of. Story after story, and everyone who is gathered over there, when Ankit will speak to them, will have a personal story of how they went, to the office of Ajit Pawar, a sabha that he used to do there. Today morning, when people come to Baramati and they are there to mourn for their Ajit Dada, Dada Cha Vada. That used to be the rallying cry. The word of Ajit Dada is final. Nothing more needs to be said. If Ajit Pawar says this needs to be done, if somebody approaches him in Mumbai, Ankit, and says, I am from Baramati, it's almost like that was their passport to get an instant audience with Ajit Pawar. There were so many people whose stories we've been hearing over the last several hours who used to say, I am a college student, I needed a job. Ajit Dada sat me down and personally counseled me and said, this is what you should do. Somebody who's been given a small loan, who's been put in a job, somebody who was helped with getting electricity supply, farmers in particular. Sudhir Suryavanshi, author and senior editor at the New Indian Express, is with us. But let's stay with Ankit, because I think now that funeral procession from Kathewadi, the ancestral village of Ajit Pawar, where his body has been kept in state. People, yesterday evening, you had Uddhav Thackeray with his wife landing in Baramati to pay their last respects. Yesterday, you had the Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister sitting with Supriya Sule and Sunitra Pawar paying their condolences. Today morning also, they have already reached Baramati from Mumbai. But every single person there, Ankit, coming with their own little personal story, which is why yesterday also, when in the hospital, Ajit Pawar had been brought in Baramati, there were just people who were crying Dada. It wasn't a politician's passing. It was almost like that of a family member, Ankit.
Absolutely, a family member, a guardian, the man who in fact took care of them. That was the sentiment. Who was so accessible to all of them. In fact, I was speaking to a few people. It will be difficult for me to in fact go across to them because of the security. They have been put in a different enclosure, but thousands of people coming in here every single week. From Mumbai, he made sure that he visited Baramati every single week. They said 8 din mein 2 baar aate the, and he would come here. Look at the work which is going on, look at the work which is, pending, meet people. And even at his ancestral village, I was talking to somebody who is a neighbor to their house, and he said that, when he used to come, and if you go and meet him, you will never feel that you are meeting a politician of his stature, of a deputy chief minister. He would meet you as your neighbor. And that was the strength that the Pawars, have garnered as far as Baramati is concerned. While we are speaking, so just a moment back, Praful Patel, the second most powerful leader as far as the Ajit Pawar faction of the party is concerned, he just arrived, met Sharad Pawar. I can still see Supriya Sule standing there. She's the one who's been managing affairs here while the family moves the mortal remain in that carriage from their village to this very place where it will be brought. Vidya Pratishthan, as you were speaking about, Padmaja, there are places in Baramati, and the entrance to this area, when you come, you don't feel like that this is, somebody would in the country would think this is back on beyond of Maharashtra. It actually is not. There are places and streets which are much better than a Mumbai or Pune. That's the kind of work that they have done. That's the kind of development that they have done. Just short while back, there was this AI center which was inaugurated. Both senior and Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar both both of them were there along with Supriya Sule, and at that inauguration, and people were already talking about how in just a few months from now there is all those talks of reunion, and Ajit Pawar, despite doing the somersault that he used to in politics, going and standing with Devendra Fadnavis for those 18 hours of the deputy chief minister, going back to his uncle, and now being in power without his uncle, wanted the family and the party to stay united. He was in talks with his uncle and Supriya Sule to finalize both the factions coming together, all of those things, and especially at a time in the municipal elections, Padmaja, we were reporting about it, we were talking about it, how Pimpri Chinchwad, Pune, their bastion as well. He was the guardian minister for Pune for a very, very long time. And they lost those elections. But knowing the man Ajit Pawar was, rolled his sleeves up and said that, whatever happened. Zilla Parishad is where we have to now show our strength. He was coming to, in fact, Baramati yesterday for preparations of that. Actually, at this moment, there is somebody speaking. I'll have to figure out who, but they are speaking about the order. People are coming in and paying their respects. In fact, speaking. Okay, so the announcement is that the people from the Pawar family and the MPs and MLAs, they are being told to, in fact, come to the enclosure on their where I'm standing to my right, and on the left is the place where the people would be coming in from. That's the entrance, and on both sides, this ground, which has capacity of about 50,000 people, since morning is only swelling up. People coming in, some sitting in a very orderly fashion, others standing, and there are those who are outside the ground, on the periphery, on the boundary walls, also standing. This Vidya Pratishthan is a full education city. It's a hub which has big institutes from engineering to architecture, medical, an English higher secondary institution. So all of these, it's a combination of these institutions, a showpiece, as you were saying, of the work that has been done here by Ajit Pawar. And for the people, they are still coming to terms with the shock. I mean, everybody keeps talking about the politics. He played his politics in a very unprecedented, unpredictable manner, and so was his death, so sudden and unpredictable. So the people are still coming to terms with that Ajit Pawar is really no more.
Ankit, I'm going to go across to Saurabh Gupta as well, who joins us live. The procession carriage is on its way to the funeral ground. Saurabh, we believe that the procession has been cut short. The route of the procession?
Yes, that's what we are being given to understand, that it will not start at the Garima Auditorium, which was there, but will continue from here and towards the stadium, the main gate of the stadium. So that's what we've been given to understand at this point, the Vidya Pratishthan main gate, and it will enter from there. This is what we are hearing now. Obviously, there is it has to stick to time. By 11 o'clock, the funeral, rites are expected to start. You can see still a lot of people are coming in here. Crowds are still pouring in, and they're all headed towards the gate of the Vidya Pratishthan ground, where of course the last rites will take place. A lot of police also guiding the people. The security, of course, very, very tight here, as the police also navigate this traffic and the crowds that are pouring in to attend Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar's last rites. Now you can see the police also checking every car. There's an escort car that's coming in here. There's an escort car that's coming in here, leading someone, and the police also, trying to ensure that there is a lot of, that there are no, there's no chaos inside. In fact, this is, we can see someone, we don't know who's now driving in. There's a minister who's driving in, obviously. And, these are, of course, the scenes at the Pencil Chowk. Right, that's where we are, where the funeral procession is expected to pass in a short while from now. The cortege carrying Ajit Pawar's mortal remains will be here any moment now, and it would of course carry on to that stadium, the ground, I beg your pardon, where Ankit and everyone else is reporting from, where the crowds are
Getting off Nara Lokesh, a while ago we had seen Chandrasekhar Babankule, we had Pankaja Munde, Nitin Gadkari, all of them arriving at Vidya Pratishthan. They're right there in the front row at the spot where the funeral is going to take place. Of course, Sharad Pawar is already seated. In the meantime, the update is that the funeral procession route has been changed due to an uncontrollable crowd. Ajit Pawar's mortal remains will now be taken directly to Vidya Pratishthan, and this naturally, just take a look at the number of people who have gathered. That right there is, and these are not just, politicians, celebrities. Meanwhile, the big update also is that the black box of that private plane that crashed yesterday carrying 5 people, including Ajit Pawar, that has been recovered. This, of course, is a crucial piece of evidence in trying to put together the exact sequence of events, what really happened, what went wrong. 2 critical images that emerged yesterday, CCTV footages from 2 different angles. See that last image that came, which showed that you had the plane banking on its side. Initially, the reports suggested that there was fog, the runway wasn't clear. The first time around, the runway wasn't clear to the pilots. They did fly around, but when they came back, they did not read back. When they've given clearance to land on runway number 11, that read back did not happen. Now the black box has been recovered. Let's go to Tanushka for more on that. Tanushka, the significance of the black box being recovered.
Precisely, yes. So with respect to this crash that happened yesterday at Baramati Airport, the black box has been recovered by the officials present on site. We do understand that the black box is, of course, recovered by, there were Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau team present there. DGCA team was also present there. So the AAIB team has essentially recovered and has taken the black box in their possession. Now, what we have also, understood from the past is that the black box is called a black box, but it is actually orange in color. And it is usually, independent. It is the crucial detail of that is that it is a flight recording system designed to survive extreme impacts and fire as well, to assist in accident and investigations. It typically consists of 2 units, the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, that is the FDR and the CVR, which are located in the tail section for maximum survival. This is the reason why the black box survives, and this is crucial to the investigation because this has all the information, the conversations that have been recorded, not just from the cockpit, but also from the passenger area as well. So this is the key crucial to the investigation moving forward, which will help us understand, especially our investigators understand what went down, what were the conversations between the pilots, and what actually happened just minutes or seconds before the crash.
Also brought to us through your reporting the last words of the pilots of that jet.
Precisely, yes. The last words of the pilot, the transmission was, "Oh shit." This was told to us by senior officials who are privy to the crash probe at this point. And we do understand that before this happened, right when the pilot was making the second approach towards the Baramati airport. So the first time round when they attempted landing, there was poor visibility. This is something that the pilot, quote unquote, told the air traffic control as well, that there is poor visibility, so we're going to do a turnaround and we're going to attempt again to land. And this is when, of course, the ATC, after the ATC gave clearance, they did try to make the second landing, but the reading for the landing was not clear, as in the clearance did not come back from the pilot's end, and the last words that the pilot said were, "Oh shit." This also signifies that the pilot knew what was happening, that the crash was going to happen, and that before landing, it becomes clear that the pilot also understood that the flight is going to crash.
Just a few minutes and everything was over in a matter of just 3 to 4 minutes. The plane reported it was 30 nautical miles away and approaching. It was given permission to begin descent. The pilots then asked about the weather conditions. They were told that the winds were calm with visibility around 3,000 meters. Then when the plane began its first landing attempt, the pilots could not see the runway. The landing was aborted. After circling back, they confirmed that they were making a second landing attempt. Air traffic control asked the pilots to confirm when they can see the runway. The pilots replied, runway is currently not in sight. We'll call where the runway is in sight. And seconds later, when they reported that they can see the runway, that's when things started going wrong. There was no read back when they were given clearance to land. And that unfortunate tragedy, what you see on your screen right now, in fact, is that vehicle on which the mortal remains of Ajit Pawar will be carried to the funeral ground at Vidya Pratishthan from his ancestral village of Katewadi. What's also been done in the meantime, Vedika, and let's go back to Saurabh on this, Saurabh and Ankit, is that various points along the way, Saurabh, you've got LED screens which have been put up because the sheer number of people who have descended on Baramati cannot be accommodated in one ground. Constantly you've got announcements being made. So it's almost like viewing points have been set up. What is drawing these hundreds and thousands of people, all of them to Baramati? What are their personal stories? And how is the police managing to control this crowd right now? Saurabh.
Well, the police are definitely, trying their best to ensure that there is an orderly movement. But if I can just show you, this is the pencil chalk, and just look at the number of VIP vehicles that are stuck in a little bit of traffic situation here. And this is as the crowds keep pouring in. A lot of the VIP vehicles, in fact, Goa CM Pramod Sawant just arrived a short while ago. His convoy also stopped here. But you can see the policemen trying to negotiate, the traffic and ensuring that everyone gets in on time as VIPs continue to pour in. Now, let me show you on this side, of course, is where, the normal public is walking in from. This is the side where the normal public is walking in from, but this is the VIP entry. This is where, the funeral procession, the cortege will also go in through. So this part is, of course, barricaded. The police are making sure anyone who's not authorized to use this entry does not use this entry. You can see the policemen negotiating even with the VIP vehicles, asking them to use the designated gate. But as we see, more and more VIP convoys are also coming in here. The funeral procession, the cortege, is also expected to arrive here and then, of course, head in through this gate that I was showing you. So a lot of, people still arriving, some, dignitaries from other states as well. Because remember, this is a very, very sad moment, not just for Baramati, but for those who knew. So ministers' vehicles all, going in from here, the police guiding those vehicles. The Maharashtra government stickers on these vehicles indicate that they belong to a minister. Because that's the sticker that indicates, and it's written. So this is, of course, MLAs. So everybody who's coming here has to be guided in because there's a lot of security. There's a lot of also, police presence here who are trying to manage the traffic. This is where the funeral procession, the cortege will arrive. And then, of course, it will head in through that gate, that barricaded gate behind me into the ground where Ankit is reporting from. But just look at the crowds that are still pouring in. The vehicles that are still trying to get in to the stadium. In fact, we are still seeing more and more people arrive as the funeral procession, like we were reporting, has been curtailed by a bit, due to the paucity of time. And they will, of course, it'll happen. The time was 11 o'clock is what we were told. So now, instead of starting from the Garima auditorium, the funeral cortege will directly, head into the stadium from here. And you can see, of course, those VIP cars also.
From the funeral ground. I'm going to go to him in a moment from now. Also reintroducing our guests, Smriti Kopikar, senior journalist, and Sudhir Suryavani also joining us. Smriti, before I go to Ankit, I was going through this article that you've written for NDTV, and I just want to quote from there. You said, when you met Sharad Pawar years ago, you asked him about Ajit Pawar, and you asked him, is he your number two? And Pawar shook his head. At this point, I don't know what kind of a politician and political leader he will grow into. Cut to 20 years later. He was first among equals in many ways within the party fold. He broke away from the main party, NCP. He's been the deputy chief minister multiple times under different chief ministers, and he's, of course, made a legacy of his own.
Oh, entirely. I say this often enough that it's really difficult for the children of very powerful people, and especially politicians and those in public life, to carve a niche of their own. What goes to Ajit Pawar's credit, entirely his own, was that he took the best of lessons from his uncle, his mentor, really, his political guru in many ways, and then emerged as a leader in his own right. There is no one in Baramati, in Pune, Pimpri Chinchwad, who will tell you that Ajit Dada was only Pawar Sahib's nephew. The Kaka Putnya relationship was there at a personal level, but he had managed to supersede that, to emerge as a politician in his own right. And that meant that he, forged a very unique kind of a relationship with power. He wanted power at all costs, and who doesn't? Which politician doesn't? But the kind of compromises he would make to be in power were also entirely his own. In 2014, Mr. Sharad Pawar voluntarily offered to support the BJP Sena government from outside. Ajit Pawar went along with that. But a few years later, he was completely comfortable ditching his uncle and the party to take that early morning oath with Mr. Fadnvis. And he had forged a personal connect with Mr. Fadnvis by then. Or in the last 2 years, when he was sworn in as the deputy chief minister for the sixth time in the state, he did not become a BJP man. On at least 2 occasions, he called out their communal politics, their strategy. He called out someone as powerful as the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath for his remark, "Batenge to katenge." And Ajit Pawar retorted, saying this kind of language does not work in Maharashtra, and let's not go there. And so he allied with the BJP. He was in government with Mr. Fadnvis on 2 occasions, or 3 occasions if you count that early morning brief government of 80 hours. But he did not adopt the BJP's brand of politics. He remained what many commentators have called a secular politician in today's time. I'm not sure if we can use the word secular entirely for him, because he was comfortable with a certain degree of majoritarianism that the BJP propounded, but he remained within that system and managed to talk about Phule, Shahu, Ambedkar, Yashwantrao Chavan, and that counts for a lot in today's context.
Nawab Malik had been fielded. The BJP made it a point. They said, we are going to make sure that Nawab Malik loses. We will campaign against him. But despite that, Ajit Pawar did not back down. Among his closest aides, he counts as people like Nawab Malik. His daughter Sana Malik was fielded. Hassan Mushraf is one of his closest aides and minister. So that also speaks volumes about how he decided to stay true to at least a few principles he had laid down. Please stay with me, because I want to go back again to Ankit. And that entire funeral procession has started. You've got a large portrait, Ankit, of Ajit Pawar on top of that vehicle, but it's finding it extremely difficult from what we see right now for that vehicle to even make its way. And you know, that is what happens when a popular leader with this kind of following. I remember when when Jaya Lalita, had passed away, and for almost 4 hours, the ambulance that was carrying her mortal remains could barely make it out a few meters. When Bala Saheb passed away, that entire area in Mumbai, I remember, was packed with people. And today in Baramati, perhaps not the crowd of the kind we saw on Bala Saheb's passing, but extremely close. And just the sheer number of people who have come from across his constituency, across that entire area, Ankit.
Absolutely, especially in Western Maharashtra and Marathwada area, this is where the Pawars drew their strength and power from, and a lot of people, not just from Baramati but from all the adjoining districts, have also come here. And like you were mentioning, this also tells you it's a very it's actually a dying breed of politicians, those who have this kind of connect with the people, that you don't have to organize any sort of strength or show of strength. People outpouring of the grief is very personal. When I came here, there were about a few hundred people, and now I can only see this going back and back and back into thousands pouring in this entire ground. Almost 50,000 people capacity, almost filling to the brim. There are people, those who are on the sides, on the walls, standing behind those big LED screens as well. And it tells you that many people, many politicians, despite winning elections, do not have this kind of connect. You spoke about J. Jayalalitha, you spoke about Balasaheb Thackeray, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he passed away as the former Prime Minister, massive outpouring on the streets as well. There are few leaders who can claim that people will come despite no management on their part. These are not NCP Karyakartas from either faction. Of course, many of them would be, but there are general people on the streets at this moment of Baramati and adjoining areas, those who want to come and pay their respects to Ajit Pawar, to Dada, because their lives have been touched in many ways. He was a man for work, a man who you will tell him that this needs to happen. If it is possible, he will tell you it is possible. If it is not, on your face, he'll deny that. And if he says it is possible, then he will make it possible. And that's so many stories from here. While the VVIPs are coming in, on the other hand, I can see a lot of arrangements being made, because remember, top leaders from the country are also coming. Home Minister Amit Shah is expected here at around 11:30. And along with him would be Nitin Nabin, the president of the BJP. Some ministers from other states are also coming here. So arrangements are being made. There is a protocol which is being put in place. But despite that, one thing that I also want to mention, Padmaja, we have seen a lot of times when people are in grief, it becomes absolutely unruly. But I have to say that I've hardly seen such a disciplined crowd. People are very, very calmly, patiently sitting. Their only grievance was that they were not able to get the view of this very stage. As we are speaking, there are policemen in the ceremonial uniform which have come and lined up here just near the very platform where the final rites are going to take place. And as I speak, this is going to be important. Remember, 3-day state mourning has been declared as far as this
In a moment from now, but we want to also shift focus to the procession that is taking place, which has been cut short, like Padmaja and Saurabh pointed out. Going across to Saurabh, we just saw some emotional moments there as well of Parth Pawar atop that carriage while the procession continues. Highly emotional, Parth being captured on camera there. It seems that he is bowing to the people of Baramati and thanking them for the love that they have poured out to their, to their Dada, Ajit Dada.
Absolutely, and in fact, even these images yesterday signified the same thing, that he was constantly doing namaste, thanking the people, thanking the crowd for showing the love they've shown Ajit Pawar. In fact, just look at these pictures here. These are crowds that have gathered here. They are still pouring in. They're still going in to, the ground where the last rites will be held. Now, we're expecting the funeral cortege also to come in from that direction, and then, of course, head in towards the ground, the main gate of the ground. And we'll also try and get in a word from, people who are here, gathered here, crowds who are still coming in to try and, get a sense of what, they feel, how they feel, and, what Ajit Pawar meant for people of Baramati. I can just ask you, Ajit Pawar for Baramati? What did he mean for the people of Baramati?
No, this is a main identity of the Maharashtra as well as nation also. We lost a lot of during the loss of the Mr. Ajit sir, and we feeling so bad.
क्या थे बारामती के लोगों के लिए क्या थे?
इन बारामती लोगों के लिए तो सब कुछ थे सर, क्योंकि क्या है आज जो भी कुछ ये चल रहा है सब डेवलपमेंट का वगैरह वो ये सब उनके ही वजह से चल रहा है सर। ये हमारा बारामती का ही लॉस नहीं हुआ, ये एक महाराष्ट्र का एज वेल एज ए स्टेट का भी एक लॉस हो गया है, क्योंकि बारामती का कंट्रीब्यूशन स्टेट लेवल पे जाता है, स्टेट का कंट्रीब्यूशन नेशनल लेवल पे जाता है, तो ये बहुत लॉस हो गया।
और मैं एक चीज देख रहा हूँ, नोटिस करो, बहुत ही भावुक लोग हैं, आप खुद इमोशनल है, बहुत ही भावुक लोग, लेकिन बहुत लोग शांति से चल के जा रहे हैं, एक डिसिप्लिन भी दिख रहा है।
ये खुद डिसिप्लिनरी ये थे, क्या बोलते हो, नेता थे, तो उनका जो कोई इंटेंस है वो सब लोगों ने कैरी ओवर किया है। और दूसरा ये मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि वो टाइम पे बहुत ये थे, पंक्चुअल थे, अगर उन्होंने बताया ना तो टाइम।
और आज भी शायद फ्यूनरल प्रोसेशन को भी थोड़ा छोटा करना पड़ रहा है, दैट्स समथिंग आल्सो, देयर आर सो मेनी sort of stories that people share. For example, the NCP symbol being a clock, and then Ajit Pawar being identified through the wristwatch he was wearing. The fact that he was quite a disciplinarian, and that means that also there is a crowd that is somewhat disciplined. We've covered funerals of politicians in the past, and there have the crowds, like Ankit was pointing out, have been fairly disciplined in the circumstances. Also, a lot of security arrangement. Now, this is the entry from where the funeral cottage will go in. This is the place from where all the VIPs are arriving. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, all entered from here and a short while ago. And we're expecting more dignitaries to come in and enter from this gate. And also the funeral cottage, like you say, which is on its way, will also go in from here. And we will, of course, bring you those live visuals when that happens as well.
Where everyone is seated, where the funeral is going to take place at Vidya Pratishthan. It's really right now Sharad Pawar, who is the head of the family. Everyone who is coming in is going up to Sharad Pawar and greeting him. So, in a sense, in a family where suddenly somebody has been taken away, this is Sharad Pawar. And then Eknath Shinde entering right now, Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde entering the room there. And Sudesh Survanshi, this also underlines how there is sometimes a huge divide in how a politician is perceived, especially by, say, people sitting in Delhi and by those who are his constituents. So there you see Devendra Fadnavis, Eknath Shinde, Chandrasekhar Bawankule, members of the cabinet in Maharashtra, all of them walking in. So in just a while from now, we are expecting that the funeral procession will be reaching Vidya Pratishthan and the final rites will take place. 11 o'clock is the scheduled time, in just half an hour from now. So while people may have thought of Ajit Pawar, linked him to corruption scandals, there may have been political campaigns against him, but when it comes to people of Baramati, he was just Dada who got their work done. That's it, period. They were going to vote for him because he was Dada.
Yeah, absolutely. There were many controversies, around him, like irrigation scam and that bank controversy was also there. But people of, Baramati, particularly Western Maharashtra, and some part of Maharashtra believe in his leadership. And they knew that many allegations were just made just to get the limelight or tarnish the image of their leader. And there were also conspiracy theories against his leader. And let me tell you one thing, Padmaja. I think I have seen the Maharashtra politics quite, from long time. And media here was quite unfair with him. Ajit Pawar received more criticism than the accolades for his work. Now, after his demise, everybody is remembering his work. That time, the people who harp on the criticism and the, conspiracy theory, they made up their career. And Ajit Pawar, if you remember, recently said, the people who made allegations against him, he is sitting with them. So there is no truth or there is no substance in the allegations. I think Ajit Pawar was a person, if you see his visit, if you, see his rallies, more people used to come, not with the bouquet or the flower. People used to come with, with their complaints, with some paper in their hand. And Ajit Pawar was very interested solving their problem. He used to welcome people with the complaints, with letter, with any demands, not with the bouquet and all other fancy thing. That was the most important thing. Second thing, he was also blunt and he was well also very short temper sort of leader initially, but people understand, realize he is short temper, he is hot nature, but he is a genuine politician.